We were going to go to our local hardwood dealer, but stopped by our home center and we were shocked to find a nice looking cedar board that was going to be perfect for this project. When we got it back into our shop, the first thing we needed to do was to cut it in half to make this 8-foot board a little easier to work with. We always preferred to set the board on some polystyrene foam insulation and with the help of our speed square, cut the board in half with our circular saw. We're pretty sure that this cedar board is made for decks, so it already has a rounded edge on it, but we actually want to remove that for now. Plus, there are some knots lining the edges that would need to be removed too. Over at our table saw, we ripped the board on one side to remove the rounded edge and then failed miserably at trying to look like a ninja. We'll stick to woodworking for now. Anyway, with one edge removed, we could then rip the board down to its final width, which would remove the rounded edge, leaving us with 2 clean boards. And here's a pro tip for you. We actually chose to get the heavy sanding done now while it's all one big piece, and save the headache of sanding a ton of little pieces later. The next step was to cut some drainage grooves. We made some marks on the board we wanted these grooves to be, then we adjusted our blade height to be just slightly more than half the thickness of the stock over on the table saw. We could then line up one of the marks on the saw blade and make a cut along the entire length of the board. And to make everything symmetrical, we flipped the board 180 degrees and made another cut without adjusting our fence to make sure the cut was exactly even with the cut before. We continued the same process of making the rest of the drainage grooves on one side of the board. And hey, if you made it this far in this video and you really like what you're seeing, we would really appreciate if you hit that thumbs up button below. This 1 second of your time helps us out more than you know and will help get the small channel of just about 92 subscribers at the time of recording in front of more people. Thanks. With all of the drainage grooves cut on one side of our board, we brought out our crosscut sled, which we will link up in the cards above, to cut down the soap trays to final size. We used our Cat's Moses stop block to dial in the perfect size before cleaning up one end, sliding that side over to the stop block, and cutting all of our dishes down to final size. With all the soap trays cut down, we needed to add drainage grooves on the underside, so we marked out the groove and cut them the same way as we did before, where we lined the grooves up with the table saw blade and then ran them through the table saw. The very last thing that we needed to do was to round over all the edges using our cordless router and a round over bit. Now this is a top secret product that hasn't been released yet, but we'll let you in on something special. This is the final prototype of our cordless router dust extractor. It's a special blend of ordinary duct tape wrapped around the opening of the router that catches just about all the dust. Just remember where you saw it first. It's definitely not perfect, but it catches the vast majority of the sawdust coming off the router. And after a joyous time sanding, you're ready to finish all the soap dishes. We used an easy tongue oil to really bring out the grain in the cedar. Just wipe it on, let it sit for a few minutes, and then wipe off all the excess. And after the tongue oil dried for about 24 hours, we were done.